Excellent. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We begin with the pledge of allegiance, please. The flag of the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fantastic. I don't think there's any correspondence. Consideration of recommendations from the Public Site Building Commission for the design of the cost estimation for the high school. Okay, so where do you want to start? Do you want to start?
I'll start. I think I'll turn it over to Roger.
Okay.
So as you know, I think it was December of 2024, we had a joint meeting of the Board of Ed, the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Finance for all of that meeting. And we talked about the kind of the status of the different routes in the district and where we saw things at the time. At that point, it was a recommendation, I think, of all of you, and including the Board of Ed, to go out to RFP to try to get better pricing, because we really had some conceptual pricing through, was it Garland?
Correct.
At that time. But it really wasn't solid in terms of really looking at the project and what we really need to make it go forward. So Jen and Tyler, we issued an RFP, went through the finance office here and used Melanie's template for it, issued an RFP, I think it was in March of 2025. So it was a couple months after we met to do two things, to look at the bids and the designs of potential projects. And when we looked at it, as we had kind of discussed, the most serious roof that we on the Board of Ed side saw as being the most significant was the high school. And most specifically, the part of the high school that was not part of the renovation in 2010. I think parts of it might have been touched, but it wasn't completely redone. Oh, thank you. So this area was the more significant, but this is the area that also. So we wrote the bid specs. We're also concerned about Barry and some of the issues at Barry. And we kind of collectively talked about leaving the middle school out of it, just because there were several other issues that needed to be looked at. And quite frankly, and Tyler could speak if you have more specific questions, that they're, believe it or not, that roof's in, I think, the best shape of the three. So they put out the bid document with alternates. So depending upon how the town wanted to approach it, do we want to just look at the high school at Barry and separately? And we even wrote the bid specs, or they wrote the bid specs to break out, this is the base bid and then this is an alternate bid. At that point, when we started to get the bid documents back, I think is when I approached you, Dan, and said this probably should go to building site for two reasons. One is you obviously have oversight to all the town projects, but second is roof construction is eligible for reimbursement under the state. So if eventually we get to the phase that we want to engage in actually replacing this roof, then we would go through the same process that we would need to do. And that part of that is that there has to be an independent board that oversees the project. So at that point, we turned it over to the Public Building Site Committee. Did I miss anything big? Okay, so do you guys want to pick up?
Okay, yeah, so in August, Dr. Carver at a meeting explained this process project, and we were not briefed on it yet. So she gave a heads up on 9/10. Myself and Dave Resendiz, we met with Tyler and Jennifer to go over the 5 bids, and on the back of the letter, you have the 5 bids that came in, I guess, in April, May.
Yes.
Okay. So after going through that, Tyler and Jennifer, especially Tyler, really went through all the bids, laid out all the pros and cons. And so really happens to be the lowest bid seemed to have the best qualifications. I mean, the depth, they had good points in the bid, which Tyler can explain in a minute. So we did review all 5 of them. And the Public Site and Building Commission did review it. And on 9/24 of this year, we approved the bid from Silver Petroselli and Associates of Meriden for the bid. And going over all of the information, if you take a look at here, so here is the base and then the gym or the new edition. If you take a look at the age, by the time that this is approved and to get some reimbursements, we approved to have both of them done at the same time for the assessment. Because it makes sense while they're up there assessing it, they can then look at that also. So the base for their bid was 59,400. The alternate was 13,800, total of $73,200. So that's what we approved. When they had anything, I think that we looked at everything.
Yeah, like Roger said, Silver Petroselli probably had the most experience with roof work in the area, and they came in at the lowest bid, so it's kind of a no-brainer for us.
Some questions.
Maybe Tyler
Comments for a while.
or Jennifer could add anything as far
You know,
as.
Tyler, the one thing maybe that it add, I mean, the decision to add the additional pieces of the roof, like kind of where did that come? Like, what's the, I mean, it's 16 years old versus 26 years old. Is it, what's the shape?
It's currently it's in good shape, but it's a rubber membrane. It's a good installation, but it's not the best installation I've ever seen. And by the time we get boots on the ground for this project, that roof should be eligible for full replacement. It's probably a scale of economics here that it would probably make no sense to replace it at that time, but we don't necessarily have to. It's not at end of life.
Right. But then we're gonna put down the line with a smaller project.
Do the engineering now and look and save it too.
Right.
Yeah, basically, this is an assessment to see what.
Right. True, we can do the assessment. We may or may not do it now. True.
The assessment and design.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes, it includes both. And one of the questions I'll just bring it up now because Sorrel asked me is it, would that be eligible for reimbursement? The answer is yes, if we go forward with the project. So if we go forward with the project, then we would submit it as the design work for the project, and you have to have cost estimation as part of that. Just like we did for the HVAC project, we did the design work preliminarily. So the only risk would be to not get reimbursement is if we decided we weren't going to do the project. That's the side point. I will say that application for roofs is much different than applying for schools. It's more like the HVAC approval. So in schools, you actually have to get, when we did Johnson and Rockwell, we had to get legislative approval to be considered as part of the projects. But for roofs, you don't have to do that. You just submit it through DAS, and it's a little bit easier. And I think our reimbursement rate is like 47.6, I'm not sure, something like that. So it's almost 50 cents on the dollar. Ultimately, when the town does consider it to go to referendum.
Is there a timeline on the contract for this work?
Well, we're actually beyond it, but they checked today because I had them double check that they would hold the price. And I believe that's.
Yeah, so
Hence why we're moving quickly.
Yes, we are past the timeline.
I spoke to the vice president and the principal architect for the firm. He confirmed for me that they were holding pricing. The only thing that he said he's seen has gone up, they've added as an exclusion from their base bid. That's the design, the environmental design fee, which is basically hazardous materials. They had excluded that from their bid to begin with and indicated that that was a $3,500 ad alternate. Should we ask them to do that portion of the work? They told me that currently they're seeing that ranging between $3,500 and $6,000. But that is not part of their base bid to begin with.
And that's when, basically when they're looking to see if we need to remove hazardous materials from.
Correct.
Probably would be on the main portion of the building.
I would think so.
If we have it, trying to distance ourselves from any kind of formal commitment with Garland, but in my speaking with Garland as a large company in the area that does a lot of this, they didn't anticipate that we had any hazardous materials on our roof, given the age of it.
Most of it should have been removed, but they always find something.
I
I'll
know,
tell
I
you. They
know,
always
I
find
know.
Yeah.
We learned that in the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, they did double check that they would have the price.
So is this one of those things, if they find it, then they're gonna charge us?
I'm not sure
Okay,
on that. I just
Just
have to
curious.
double check to give you
Okay.
an accurate answer.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be when they actually do the project, not?
what do you think, Brian? Yeah, I think it's just keep it out or just-
Well, was it included in the other bids you got?
It wasn't explicitly included or excluded. This was the only firm that made it explicit that they were excluding it from their base bid.
But this, so it seems to me that they're just not gonna do it unless we ask them to do it, because
Right, it's not part of the scope.
if they were expecting it, you know, to be there, correct?
Correct.
I mean.
Well, if I can speak to it, if we're spending
Recognize you.
74,
Mr. Ellis,
I'm sorry?
we recognize Mr. Ellis.
Excellent, thank you. We have to protect the kids and the schools in our building for $3,500. Why would that be not in a standard bid? They're just gonna go like this and we don't see it, we don't see it. You know what I mean? I think it needs to be in there.
No, I don't
No,
think.
No,
no,
it's,
this
We
is
weren't,
an
we're not
assessment.
currently aware of any needs around hazardous material on the roof.
But knowing the age of the building and the roof and the patchwork up there, you have to have somebody look at it.
it has everything to do with design. So if they find hazardous materials, they're gonna design a spec to remove them. That's what the $3,500, I believe, is for. It's for the design of the removal.
So we're gonna, later on in the project, we're gonna have somebody look for asbestos? What, so when does that step come in?
I would think in the installation, right? After they design it, and if it's part of the design, I know nothing about this, so I'm talking like layman. But if part of the design is, and they're looking at it, and they find the asbestos materials, wouldn't that have to do with the actual, like, dealing with it in the scope of the project?
Yeah, but they would have to test to see how much it is.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's what the $3,500.
Sorry,
Well, hold on a second. I think what you're saying is they're just gonna say, if there's, they're almost not even gonna look at the roof. They're just gonna say, if we find something, this is what we recommend to do.
So their expectation is that our industrial hygienist, which we have been using, Pannoni, formerly Hygienics, is going to provide them with that information. I don't disagree with you, Nick. I think it's small money to cover ourselves.
Well, but I'm going back because they're just gonna say, here's the game plan. If you find it, call this guy. I mean, I'm not just trying to make it so simple. If there's gonna be a company you're working with that's identified anything, they know what to do in the process. So 3,500 for them just to tell us, call this guy or cover things up. You know what I mean? So just
I would think- I just
explain what they're doing for
That's why
3,500.
doing the project, not during.
So what is the 3,500 for?
Right. Let's go with that.
I didn't dig into it
Okay.
any more than that.
It- 3,500 is to identify. and-
No,
It-
they're not
it's a
taking a
design.
pick or anything to it.
It's an environmental design fee.
Just
the
design.
Identify is separate, and the expectation is that our industrial hygienists identify that.
So if it's identified, can we come back to them and pay the fee for design? We
I,
don't have to do that now, it's what we're,
Well, Tyler, what would they design? Just tell me. They would come up with a plan to abate it, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
a company that's gonna do the work is gonna tell us how to abate it.
It's there.
No, I know we don't know what's up there yet. So I'm not in favor of the 3,500 because they're only gonna just give us a plan to do it.
yeah, I think we jump on that bridge when we get to it.
They're not identifying it.
Yes, hijinks, is how I like to call
Well, it's something else now. It's
it's
called.
Pannoni now, but formerly.
Okay.
Hygienics.
them, formerly hygienics. We've had work done with them before.
Yeah, they did Johnson and Johnson.
They would design what you need to do.
That's what they did in the last
do the work.
situation.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's when we work on the OPD. So the 3,500, we're not gonna worry about yet. Where should we worry about this?
I would say yes.
Okay. Brian, you some thoughts or?
I mean, they're gonna give you a design and then you'll have, if they see something suspicious, you'll have your environmental company test it to find out if it's asbestos. And with that, most of the time it's the glue that's asbestos.
Of course, mastic, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
it's generally the glue that's asbestos. But I'm fine with it. We gotta get it rolling.
Okay, any other ideas or comments? I'll go ahead and,
Do they have any reimbursables or anything in their contract? Paper, computer, or whatever, it's like, it's complete.
Well, the contract's not done yet, but if you look at the bid document, which is, I mean, you can't see it here, but you can actually look, but Jen, is it?
Well, I'm just looking to see if we should put a contingency in it or something for,
I don't know that you need a
things that are
contingency for this.
included are, what we just talked about, the environmental design, structural engineering services, travel outside the state of Connecticut, special testing services required by our building officials, which are state expensive. It doesn't say anything about it.
Are they gonna recommend product line to you? Like, are they gonna recommend like a specific type of roof? Are they gonna?
That's essentially the intent of this whole design package, is that they're recommending the best materials for our application. Because it just didn't feel appropriate that I choose that in a silo. I have been cautioned by some industry professionals that we should really curtail and tell them kind of what we are looking for from the final material. So we don't just leave it open-ended for them to pick from the whole world's worth of roofing materials. But the intent was that they're guiding us on picking the best and developing the spec for us.
Like, are they gonna give you like, we're recommending you use a Firestone product, or we're recommending this product? Or are they just gonna tell you basically, look, you need to put a rubber roof on and we're recommending that this is the way it's installed, but
Part of this RFP was that they're developing the specs, so they should be making, if it was a Firestone or comparable alternative, they shouldn't be tying us into one manufacturer.
okay, so they'll just try and get you type of roof and then you pick.
Yeah.
The installer picks which manufacturer.
Do they have, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Do they have affiliation with somebody and they're gonna steer their spec to make sure it fits a certain product? Or are they gonna say a glue down roof, that type of thing?
I don't know this firm well enough to say, but the intent is that we're going to a reputable firm that is not going to try.
They're not
to
connected with a
sell
roofing
some-
company or anything?
No.
They're an architectural firm. They're not.
Yeah.
That had come up before.
Well, because you can say you have to have purple screws. Well, only one guy's got purple screws. You know, what I mean, that's,
No, and they have done a lot of work in other school districts. They have a good reputation.
It's not gonna be steered. It's gonna be open for pricing.
A lot of this place is boilerplate anyway. They've done it a
Oh,
thousand times and it's plug and play. It's like you get a set of plans for a foundation. Well, it's not like.
Well, it's the thickness of the insulation, tapered or not.
Yeah, they've got it all.
So going back, I don't know if this answers some of the questions. Number 5 and number 6 on the fee qualifications. It says final or permit printing expenses usually preferred electronically are reimbursable, as well as roof test cuts by Bethel Board of Education roofer or reimbursable expense. So I don't know if that.
I'm sorry, you're reading that from the architect firm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah. Okay.
So it sounds like we would have to get a roofer to cut.
For their inspections, you're gonna need to have somebody on the ground, to cut and look at things, obviously, and then reseal it up, obviously. So, and that'd be on us.
So that'd be on us. So to
Definitely on us.
do we have to include that in this? Because then we could get that reimbursed someday. Like if we're gonna pay a roofer to go make the cuts.
Yeah,
Where's that money
I
come
don't
from?
know if that would be reimbursed. Is that a very,
Yeah.
I don't know how much, is that expensive?
Probably not. That, could that be a separate contract?
$5,000.
Yeah.
I don't know that we want to pay.
On
So much,
contingency if we had
I think you can add it as an invoice and it's part of the project, obviously. It's nothing new, but just that roofer, $1,000 a day with material, They give you an invoice, little contract, and submit that.
Are you talking about for state reimbursement?
I'm just talking about,
I think that's gonna be down the road. I mean, they're just looking at the roof and they're gonna design the roof. They're not, you're not even looking at environmentals. They're not gonna have
No,
someone
Brian,
there and say, cut this and test it.
They're going to look about the deck quality, because they're stripping this roof, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so part of
They
the,
have to, during their design process, they have to see what they have for substrate to say, what are we building on? And that's why they have to cut open and look.
so we're going to pay somebody to cut.
Yes,
Do we need to have that included in this?
I don't think so. I think you just have a little contract and then just have that as an invoice.
Alright.
Yeah. Don't
Okay.
confuse it, leave the design thing, and then the other thing is they go, that would be my recommendation.
Well, then that'll come out at what, 460 or something?
We'll have to figure out.
Or,
I'm just making sure that is included.
Even the contract with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine. I'm just, if there's an appetite to include it as part of this and have funding for it, for CNR, or if we just wait and handle it when we get it. And
we don't need to know.
let's say we'll wait and handle it when we get it. Let's just remember that. Okay. Any further discussion? Go ahead. Okay, so, I'll go ahead and make the motion. I move that we pass recommendations from the Public Site and Building Commission, with our approval to the Board of Finance to take the lowest bid, which is Silver Petrocelli and Associates of $73,200 from CNR. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, and I believe that is it.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 6:22. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Is it on?